thanks. Meet somebody new, get some water. We're going to have a couple more remarks again, and then we're going to do some training, and then we're going to go hit doors. So thank you. Have critical discussions with our neighbors in the neighborhood. We're going to go street to street, door to door, neighborhood to neighborhood, but today's focus is very, very special because it is a labor focus. And we have from the CLC, Siobhan, who's come all the way to Hamilton to give some remarks, and I have this very special microphone for you. If you just want to let people know kind of who you are, where you're from, and what you're all about.
Listen, I'm glad you took the extra time to find the orange sponge.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice touch. No, everybody, it is so wonderful that you're here. Us in the labor movement have been pushing to make sure that the response to everything is worker first. And so right now when we're feeling this pressure from down south around tariffs, around sovereignty, workers first. That's where the investments need to be, that's where the decisions need to be made around, and so that's what you're seeing when we're showing up, and it totally aligns with the NDP, and that's why we're getting workers out there. We would love for you to join our campaign, which is Workers Together, if you want more information about what we're pushing for. But we know how we win this, and this is that we talk to workers to workers, because here's the reality is that people are scared, and it makes sense, and people are worried, and that makes sense. And so now we need to tell them about solutions, and then when we talk to them and listen to them and talk about what solutions are, they are on the same side as we are. And so that takes work, that takes a lot of footwork. And so I'm so happy that you showed up tonight. We will knock on doors and meet people and talk to them. But it's going to take a lot more door knocking between now and the election. So I hope you clear your schedules, do what you can, bring a friend next time, because together we will make sure that all responses are a worker focused response so that we can do better for everybody. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know that some of you folks heard my comrade Anthony Marco's remarks. What we didn't have, though, is the full context in terms of what the District Labor Council is, who it speaks for, who it represents, and so maybe if you want to let folks know kind of who you are, where you're from, and what you're all about.
Sure. So the Hamilton District Labor Council, we represent a lot of unions in the city. I wish I could say all of them, but some of them are on their own paths right now, and they don't necessarily belong to the Labor Council. But the key is this. Unionized workers in Canada represent 30% of the workforce. There is another 70% of the workforce that is not unionized. And we're never going to get them all unionized, we're going to try, but we need to still be working with the 70% of workers in this city and in this province and in this country who aren't unionized. That's why we talk about class. Canada and the US do a horrible job of talking about class on a day-to-day basis. Look at the news and tell me how many articles you see about class-based issues. We need to start talking about a working class which unites all of us. Whether you're making $20,000 or $100,000, if you could be hired and fired tomorrow, you're a working class worker and you need to stand with each other. You have more in common with each other than you do with a billionaire. You have more in common with each other than you do with somebody who is trying to get away with a capital gains exemption of $500,000. You have more in common with everybody in this room than you will ever have with somebody who's making a Tesla somewhere down in the United States. So we ask everybody, stand together, whether you're unionized or not, whether you are in a field that's making a whole bunch of money or not. You have to realize that our struggles are more common than they are different, and we need to make sure that we stand together, and having a team that is diverse, of different job classes, of different types of workers, all in this campaign together, is just a testament to the leadership that this guy has shown over the last few years, and it's the reason we're all here today, and we're proud of the Labour Council to have gotten behind Matthew's campaign once again.
Thank you so much. And I'll just conclude on the remarks. You know, one of the privileges I have as the labor critic is I get a chance to go coast to coast to coast and talk to workers. I go to their federations, I go to their conventions, I go to their picket lines, I'm on the front lines in their rallies. And when I'm in these rooms and I'm talking to people who have stepped forward to look after their coworker and to help improve the material conditions for their workplace on their work sites, I know this one common thread, that each and every one of them, just like each and every one of you, you had a moment. You had a moment where you decided that being a spectator was no longer good enough. That you were actually going to do something, you were going to step forward, you're going to be out in community, you're going to put yourselves out there like you're going to do tonight. And so there's going to be lots of conversations to be had, but some of the most powerful canvases that you can have on the door is just drawing back on why it is you've decided to take this time to be with us tonight. What is that thing that you care so much about that you give your time to be on those doorsteps talking to people? Maybe it is your workplace. Maybe it's another issue you care dearly about. But ultimately, that compelling story is the kind of authenticity that people are looking for on the doorsteps, and it is the kind of authenticity, unfortunately, that is too uncommon in politics. And it's the one thing that I think we have as our secret sauce right here in Hamilton Center, is that when we go to people, on their doorsteps, we are authentic. We do recognize the struggles, because we're not here, to have solidarity only in the good times. We're here to have solidarity when folks are struggling. We know that folks are struggling now. That's why it's important to show up. I would say that if you come across somebody who is so frustrated that they might actually verge on hostility, then you really want to just take a step back. In that case, retreat is not surrender. So you'll get a chance to step back. We believe that everybody's worth talking to. So that's the line that I use to somebody who might be upset that I'm on their doorstep. I say, look, I apologize. I just thought you were worth talking to about this election. If you want me to move on, I'll do that. You can do that. Because everybody, whether they're voting for us or not, we're not just picking doors that we know support us. We're hitting every single door to talk to people, because we don't know what's behind that door. And it's likely that there is struggle and uncertainty, and it's our job to reassure them. And the last piece, when you find support in the community, you are going to draw them in. Because what we're doing is we're identifying, we're engaging people, and then we're going to enroll them. So on Saturday, we're going to have a big campaign launch party at a great punk rock bar right like 4 doors down called Vertigo. And we're going to get together and we're going to socialize, organize, and mobilize and get out and have a barnstormer. So thank you to all that made time to come out here. I'm going to hand it over to Batul and the team just to do a quick rundown on what to expect and how the software works for those that are able to stay in Canvas. Thank you so much for making time for us tonight. I appreciate it.
You want to join me?
Yeah.
Hands, who is ready to hit some doors and canvas with us today? Woo! Okay, maybe it's easier to ask if there's anyone who can't stay.
That's okay.
Okay.
No worries. Awesome. So, has anyone canvassed with the Populous app before? A couple people have. So we can go do a quick run through of what that looks like. Maybe if we split into smaller groups of canvases, and each of us can take a group so that we can center it to the poll. So if we want to split up kind of in our general areas, but in groups of 3 or 4, and then Sabrina can also support with the training, and then Eric, you can take a group, I can take a group, and Devin can hang out with a group as well. And then we can get you all set up and hit some doors with Matthew.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do like a group of 4 here.
Can we play
You wanna-
show on with you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go with them.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Do you want to kind of...
And Chelsea's
Ron, if
on
you're
board.
here, the experienced person to find an unexperienced friend to pair up with.
Who wants? Oh, you're definitely experienced. You're on the wrong side. You and me. Anybody?
Okay.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Okay. You're probably going to meet us.
Oh yeah.
So much nicer, right?
It's, you know what, this is, I'm starting to get used to this thing now.
Yeah.
Devin, can I ask you to sign in for me?
Yes.
Here's the pool I picked for you. Guys are
I did yesterday. So I did with Sarah quite a bit.
So this is number 4. This is number 8. So we could
My partner yesterday, she...
we could do 2 groups of, we could get another poll or something and do a second group of
She
4.
was doing recording and she was having some issues with it, so I wanted to see how to do it.
No, I'm documenting it. So I'm not.
All right. Will likely vote for Matthew, but has some sort of reservation. So they've seen this blitz of ads on their Instagram from Mark Carney, and like, oh, this guy looks pretty smart. I don't know what's going to do that, right? Like that kind of stuff, right? And like they're like maybe they're a longtime NDP voter, but now there's something on the fence. But the point is that they have also told you in some ways in a like scaled down way from number 1 that they do like Matthew, but they're a little less firm than a 1, right? A 3 is a true neutral. My D&D friends in the room is a person who has no allegiance or decision either way, right? So these are people who I haven't started my research yet. I'm not really all that into politics. What? There's an election? That kind of stuff, right? Like people who, for whatever reason, don't like again. And what makes a person a 3 is that they give you no indication, positive or negative, when it comes to math. They're just kind of meh. A 4 is someone like a 1, but in reverse, who tells you, I don't like Matthew, I won't be voting for Matthew, like that kind of stuff. Not necessarily hostile, but tells you directly, no, I won't be voting for Matt. And that's a 4. And running into a 4 is not a bad thing, because ultimately what we're doing here is we're building out a picture of the riding and learning where our supporters live, and also importantly where they don't. Because what we do is on election day we go out and we go talk to our supporters and remind them to vote. So if we know where the 4s are, we won't waste time knocking on their door with the volunteers we have on election. So the point is that there's no such thing as invaluable canvassing data. Does anyone have a question about that?
What if you have a person who says, I'm not voting?
Oh, so we have a couple other tags for that. You just write and you just select NV on the tablet. And yeah, here is the tablet you'll be using to record this data. So we send you out with a clipboard, but that's only because in case there is technical difficulties with the tablet, right? So you are heading, you're on Ashley Street in this example. You go to number 11 Ashley Street when you knock on the door, and say Harriet answers the door, right? You say, hi, nice to meet you. And then as you have the conversation, one of you is having the conversation, and the second person you're paired up with, this will likely be the inexperienced person in the pair, will be there taking down the info as they hear it, right? So you'll see that there are some things you can select based on what they're like. You have a different mark to judge how likely or not they're there to support Sarah. To support not Sarah, sorry, that's where I came from. To support Matt, to support Matthew. Okay, so Rita, to answer your question, if a person is not voting, they're an NV. If you knock on the door and they're like, not interested in talking right now, they're a won't say. And an IV is an eligible.
Time out. We're going to take a group photo.
I think okay, I'm gonna grab one. Plans. I'll put it back when I'm done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alrighty. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, let's go! NDP! Awesome.
Okay, and one with the phone. One second. Thank you.
Of course.